This is for the leaders, the visionaries, the hope bringers, kindness instigators. This is your place to get loved, poured into, activated, and inspired. Well, good morning. Welcome to Fireside Friday, Friday, August 14th, 2026. And Lola is here with us. I haven't seen her yet this morning, so she is making an appearance for me too. Hi. Well, welcome in. One of the first things that was kind of starting to come through this morning for Fireside, because I had no real indication of where we were headed yet this week, um, is almost like that wherever you are and whenever you're listening to this message, um, just know that you are loved and cared for. It feels the energy today feels very nurturing. Um, there's going to be some activation inside of it, but I feel like the instinctual awareness was almost like no matter what you're facing right now, no matter um how you're feeling in your body, like noticing how you're feeling. It's almost like a mom or love bringing a blanket to wrap you up, to help you know too that no matter what, you have what it takes to come through what you're facing. And the other thing that was coming through really strongly too, was this almost act of surrender or relaxing. The first word that I was receiving was relax. And I thought that was so interesting because for so many of us, and myself included, I think learning how to rest, to truly relax into a moment, can feel challenging, especially when so many of us in this space are here as visionaries, as people of action, as women of vision. And we feel like we've got things that we are going to be creating, responsible for, and to, in partnership with. And not often is that word relax. Like, of course, this concept of like, well, I would love to be able to relax, but we always get involved. Um, Relax. I have these things that need to happen, or whatever comes through for us. And I really get the strong impression right now, and I'm being reminded even as I speak, to remind us all that the journey that we're inside of in this present moment as a collective is still a marathon. It is not a sprint. The chaos that we're inside of the collective, inside of this shifting of paradigms, is bigger than any one of us, but we're still feeling it in our daily orbit. We're still feeling the compound of all that's being renegotiated. And it's going to continue to feel chaotic in the external world. And for a lot of you this week, that's kind of the word was chaos, feeling chaotic internally or unresolved, sometimes too, not having answers for what is around the corner or what the thing is you're sitting inside of how can I bring all of these things to fruition, or how can my life possibly look like that thing, that dream, that vision that I feel like I've been receiving, when so much of my reality feels chaotic. It doesn't feel conducive. It doesn't feel um, not synergistic. I feel like there's synergy, but it feels just like there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of pressure and compression. I was seeing also like pressing down. Um, and the reality is too, in that gift of relaxing and even surrender, it's always a choice. We always have a choice in how we're going to meet life as we are experiencing it. And we're still the storytellers of what's happening to us. We're still the framers of what we're experiencing in our life and what we allow it to be, or what we frame it to be, what we call it to be. All of the things that occur, we are always the storyteller. We're always the interpreter. of what is transpiring. And I think that that is such an interesting thing to think about, even with that word of relax, of releasing, of resting, of almost like a body in water, just like letting the water carry you. Still kind of that same image, right, of that mother or that figure of warmth and compassion, like carrying you, surrounding you. That feels really important to also remind each and every one of you that for a lot of you, you probably are the caretakers, the nurturers in your families, in your companies, in your visions. And right now, it's important to remember that you too are cared for. And a lot of ways too, we have to learn how to receive that care and nurture and have eyes to see it. I think often too, when we're so driven or we have goals that we want to achieve, that takes the forefront of a lot. And then also you add in the demands of family and the demands of our own identity of who we have become in the communities and places that we serve and live. And I feel like there's an invitation this weekend to really reflect on and allow our own nurturing to meet us. What do we each need as we are floating down the stream? And I'm laughing because there was this video I saw in the last couple weeks, and uh, the the person who was speaking was like this image of a river, and it was he was talking about how, a river is only made more beautiful often by the rocks that is in its way because we have the sounds of the water pushing all around the rocks, up against the rocks. It creates kind of like a symphony, a unique rhythm all its own. But I was laughing because I was like, for some of us, it feels like we're floating down a stream and we keep hitting the rocks like boom, 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 like with our body. And even in that, like I hope there's some laughter of you like I feel that, I feel connected to that, of recognizing too, like sometimes in the flow of life we can feel pretty battered in the chaos. And then the question then becomes inside of that too, is there anything that you can do, that you can bring into your experience of life that's going to help you not feel the bruises of those big rocks that you're hitting with your body? Can we build a raft? Can we get an inner tube? Where can we add the supportive pieces that we would do for anyone else we're watching float down a river with no raft, like a child? We would intercede, right? It's like, oh, like, let me help you. So, in what ways, too, is your body, your inner life craving more support from you and more vision and more intentionality? Because no matter what, um, and I feel like I've talked about this in many firesides, but I think one of the things that I lost the plot inside of for so many years because of the way that I grew up is a recognition that first and foremost, my longest relationship in this lifetime is with my soul. I am here to have an experience with this soul. This is a great relationship that I am also stewarding. I am not just here to be someone's partner or someone's leader or someone's caregiver. I am also here to be me. And what does that look like? What does me need in these moments? Because then, too, if we are stewarding this soul, if we are tending this soul, if we're in deep connection and relationship and reverence and friendship with this soul, what do we get to do in order to support and be connected inside of that relationship? And it's okay to also not have an immediate answer. It's all right to sit with and contemplate, just like you would if you're trying to if you're trying to give someone an intentional gift, something that you've spent some time thinking about pursuing. I was just thinking Serge's birthday yesterday. I was like, his birthday is coming up next month. Um, and and what do I want that to look like for him? Not that he's a big birthday person, but I love gift giving. And I haven't thought a ton about that yet. Sometimes there will be moments when I have a gift in mind, or something will come through. But I've started to think about if I want to create something that takes time. It takes some intentionality. So, what does that look like? And I was thinking about even to the word chaos. It's such an interesting thing because we can all be inside of an experience, and one person. So, this is another example between Serge and I. He actually took our I don't know. He took our human design, our numerology, and something else, and then he put it into AI and he was like, tell me about this couple. Like, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Like, where might there be challenges? Like, what does that look like? Which I love. It was really cool. But one of the things that it said specifically about his personality is that he can feel stressed by chaos, where my type is like this is just Tuesday. Like, what are we going to do? Now, mind you, I can still hit a threshold in my own spirit of like, this has been too much for too long. But a lot of my life growing up was very unpredictable too. It wasn't, I never knew like what my day was going to look like, my week, all of those things, because so much of our life was being negotiated by the needs of the community. And so, yes, there were regular rhythms, but we did not, like, I'm sure I had a bedtime when I was a kid at some point. I don't know. I don't remember. Um, but even then, like, my family was also pursuing things where I had caregivers beyond them, babysitters, family members. I remember staying up really late at night, even on school nights, watching like TV Land or whatever. So I just say that because we all have different personalities when it comes to even the word chaos, how we interact with those things. And this could be part of your scaffolding or your raft that you're internally building around that chaos right now, of like, what do you need? Do you need a mental partner? Like, do you need someone that you can talk through where you are, where you can discuss some of those things, where you can ask for feedback? Do you just crave some like literally some rest? And what are the pieces that would allow you to get there? Can we clear something from the calendar? Can we ask someone else to take on something that we might have committed to? That's really challenging for a lot of us in this space too, because I know many of you who listen, and many of you are really, really sincere and conscientious, and you want to uphold the things that you've committed to. But I think sometimes too, recognizing when a commitment that you made may have been a long time ago, you're in a different season, whatever that looks like. Sometimes it's even also leaving a position or letting go of something that you had agreed to that you thought you would be able to carry out or carry through. And you know what? It's just not in alignment anymore. And in this way, shape, and form too, as part of being a wise woman, is to also recognize when some of those things have run their course and to allow them to be given to someone else's responsibility. Someone else too. I really felt like a shift happened for me too when I started, because there was a lot of savior stuff that got put into my field growing up with evangelical stuff, with language in my family, all of these things, and recognizing like I am actually no one's savior. And if I'm doing something out of that lens, like of that obligation, then there's a conversation that gets to happen there. Because if I'm not actually in my highest alignment, carrying something out, then I feel like we are actually doing a disservice to the community, to ourselves, because if we're in the wrong seat, in the wrong role, taking up space in a way that someone else could be thriving inside of, and we could carry the load that we actually crave, then what does that look like? That also is part of this too. It is letting go of some of those ideas, responsibilities, contracts, things that we are ready to release, and recognizing, like in that release, we make space for the right yes for someone else. And we get to pursue the yes that is truly on our soul, the most expansive way that we can be and feel. And I really do feel like that indication of feeling that freedom, of that expansion, of that highest alignment is part of our work. It is part of our responsibility. And so for some of you, that may be some negotiating that gets to start happening, or just some even recognition of releasing as you head into your weekend. But I think that um, the power is still in how we frame. It's okay if chaos isn't your jam and you don't want to be inside of it. So how do we also learn to embrace the chaos that we're inside of? Where can we get the scaffolding that helps us regulate, feel regulated in our nervous system? Sometimes too, that's also coming down to can we add in maybe daily or sometimes hourly check-ins for ourselves, where we just breathe, where we take inventory, where we notice, where we jot down some things that are going on for us, and we just make space and time to be that grounding mother for ourselves too. And we could also bring someone in. That still feels important. It doesn't all fall on us. We can still hire, request, be in partnership, deeper friendship with one another, asking for what we need. Sometimes it's not just also like, what can I do, but what can we do? And what can I ask for from my community? And again, too, if you are in this place going like, I don't have a person who fits that role, ask to receive it and let that door be opened for you. Okay, let's do our card today. So today we've got this is coming from the Earth Magic Oracle, and we've got wind activation. The various currents of air that circulate on our planet can be gentle enough to tickle the hairs on our arms, or so fierce that they destroy man-made structures, as well as trees and other vegetation. Wind moves the air to circulate the atmosphere and keeping it from becoming stagnant. When there's no movement, the atmosphere feels somehow heavier. Gentle breezes help cool the land and pollinate flowers, whereas more tempestuous winds can snap tree branches off and stir something deeply within us. More violent winds can create temporary chaos with their ferocity. No matter the degree of intensity, wind will activate us. In this image, the breath of the god of wind stirs the sea and rearranges the sky. As this occurs, the weather shifts. The effects, even in this small area, send ripples throughout, blending and dancing with the water and the sky. It activates the atmosphere, and the world feels more alive when there is wind. The lethargy you feel is the result of a lack of activation. In other words, something that stirs your senses. This could be anything from walking outdoors, feeling the breeze on your body, or inhaling the different aromas that nature herself provides. Or it could be finding the pleasure in a warm bath that helps you release the tension and stress from your mind and body. Music may activate your hearing, which sparks the pleasure centers in your brain. Art may activate your emotional responses. The touch of another human may activate a deep need to be physically held in some manner once again. Now is the time for action. Engage in some activity and be fully present so that you forget about your surroundings and enter into that timeless and multidimensional experience of union with the focus of your creative intention. Let your physical body be active. Movement alone, whether quietly dancing by yourself or hiking up the hill over yonder, will require you to be as present as possible in your body. Enjoy. I love this card for us right now, too, because inside of that chaos, I think it's a reminder, too, that that is activating. We are being activated, but that when we physically take the moment to be present inside of it, we are transmuting what's happening. We are the writer, still getting to claim or speak over ourselves what is happening, how we are responding. And I feel like what I love too is that no matter where you are, like that act of presencing, of choosing, of being alone in nature, of creating something with your hands, of listening to music in that relaxing, whatever that looks like for you, there is presence. And that truly also may give you clarity. I feel like that's something too. Some of you may be seeking some. That's what's coming through right now in this moment. Some of you also may be seeking some clarity around activation, what you need to be moving forward or what you're actually craving, and even also asking for courage or insight to embrace or fall into something new or different. And often we feel like we have to earn that place of relaxation, but really, truly, that relaxation will bring the clarity. That presence will produce the clarity, because a lot of times we're just still so moving. We're in a fixed state and choosing to step out of it, to be in nature, to go against maybe the plans that we had, to interrupt. That is going to produce the thing that you are craving, that clarity or emotional change of state around, to clear that stagnation, just like the wind and the air. Okay. So I love you so much. I'll see you next week.